I am in the 2023 Honda Accord Hybrid. This is the entry-level trim. Check out the price. This is the most affordable one you're going to be able to get your hands on. $33,445, but we have the Radiant Red paint, which adds $455. So I guess you could get it for a little bit less. So let's quickly talk about the powertrain, and then I'm going to show you some of the differences with the outside of this vehicle compared to other trim levels in the Accord lineup. So underneath the hood, well, it's the 2-liter hybrid, 204 horsepower. It has been updated, so we have more torque, 247 pound-feet of torque. 44 miles per gallon is what Honda estimates in this vehicle. Now, I'm sure most of you guys have your own thoughts about the styling, so what I'm gonna do in this video is break down what's different on this Sport versus like the Sport L, for example, or the Touring, because those are all hybrids. I actually haven't seen an EXL in person yet. There's not one at the event. But so what's going on here that's different about this vehicle compared to other Accord hybrids? Well, let's start up front. Well, the lights are the same. The grille's exactly the same. On the Touring, this little cutout is silvered, and I actually prefer it in this matte black. Also in matte black is this bottom lip garnish or bottom bumper lip spoiler, whatever you want to call that. That's matte black here, and it doesn't look bad. On the Sport L, that matte bottom portion isn't matte, it's a glossy finish. Same thing with the Touring, it's a glossy finish, but honestly, it looks pretty good in matte finish here in the Sport model. And look at it down here, it's matte. I think it looks perfectly fine. And also the Sport L will have a blacked out Sport logo here, and I don't remember about the Accord on the Sport L. I think it's chrome like it is here. Even though we have a matte finish at the bottom of the vehicle, we have a trunk lid spoiler that is a glossy black. So you get a little glossy black treatment, not only there, but also on the side mirror. You get the glossy shark fin antenna as well. So let's talk about these 19-inch wheels. These are the biggest wheels you can get. The Touring also gets 19s as well as the Sport L. The Sport L has the same wheels, but they're finished differently. So these 5 spokes are machine finished with glossy. I feel like the Sport Ls have a much more like matte look to them, which is funny because this has all the matte treatment and the Sport L has all the glossy treatment at the bottom, but their wheel finishes are kind of reversed, if that makes sense. And if you look around the windows, we have chrome, and it doesn't look bad because it actually matches the two-tone wheels. The Sport L has a blacked window garnish around the top of the windows. This shares like with the Touring that you see behind this vehicle. So pretty interesting. Just want to share those external bits and bobs that are unique to the Sport versus the Sport L and the Touring, for example. But this trim level also is unique in a few other things. So this is the only hybrid you can get with cloth seats. I couldn't wait to see what they feel like as well as look. Well, I'm here to tell you, I would be perfectly fine at giving up a little bit of leather, saving some money, and going with these cloth seats. They'd be a lot cooler for me in Florida and hot climates, and we still have some nice stitching on here. Like, these are anything but bargain basement seats here. Nice design embroidered in the top as well as the bottom, and you see just all the layers and cushions and the bolsters here is pretty high quality. We have a power seat on this side. It's going to be manual over there for the passenger. And guess what? This is what surprised me about this Sport trim as well. It has this pretty much the same garnishes as the luxury variant of this car, which is the Touring. We have stitching and this leather-like material, and it's soft touch materials on the doors, just like you do in the $39,000 one. Fancy metallic pedals as well. So let's get on the inside. Respectable door thud here, and even though it's not the Bose, we still have speakers in the A-pillar, which is pretty cool. What's different in this car up here versus the Touring? Nothing. This is all the same. The dash is the same materials. You get the same really cool vent design that mimics the front grille. You have glossy black here, which is also here, and it hasn't blinded me or bothered me yet. This is all smoked out. These are dark or like black control knobs. Very simple, easy to use, and that's the same on the higher, more expensive grades too. We also have a very excellent shifter. We don't have push buttons in here, so that's great. Also, we have a leather wrapped steering wheel. The grades below this do not get a leather wrapped steering wheel, so your hands will be happy touching this. Now, Also standard on every single Accord, which includes the turbo models, is this fully digital MID. We've seen it in other Honda models before, but it's cool to be standard on every single grade. And this 12-inch screen, this is really cool. It's the biggest Honda screen ever in a vehicle, and you can have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless. You can plug them in and charge them too. Now, the Touring will get you a wireless charger down here, but whatever. We have USB-Cs, they charge super fast. Now, only the Touring will give you Google built in, but I can live without Google built in because I have Google on my phone and I can just use my Apple CarPlay and Android Auto from my phone and not need the Google built in. I also, guess what, have a sunroof. It's the same sunroof you have on the Touring model, and there is no panel roof option. So in the base hybrid here, we have the same sunroof. That's great to see. We don't have an auto dimming mirror like you have on the Touring, so I hate to burst your bubble there. We don't have a head-up display or heated or ventilated seats. So if you needed heated seats, I guess maybe this isn't the car for you. We have a leather material, high quality, super soft armrest here with nice stitching on it, as well as a bunch of space in here. Guess what? There's also an auxiliary port in there if these USBs aren't enough, and they might not be enough for your passengers in the back. So I think that's probably a good segue to go ahead and get in the back. Also paddle shifters to change the regen braking on this vehicle. So let's get in the back seat here. Now, this is where the materials aren't quite as good. The Touring model had soft touch. This is just one big plastic panel back here, so not quite the same level of sophistication for sure. But check out this seat. Pretty high level of detail on these cloth seats back here. Pretty comfy. We have a mat pocket on this side, not on this side, just like the Touring model, for example. We still have stitching around the back, even though it's cloth. No vents, no USB-Cs, and that's when that charging port in here to run cables to the back might come in handy. Tons of leg room back here, but my head, if I put it back, it starts running into this. I feel like I'm sitting really, really high here. I don't know 100%, but I think the batteries are sitting underneath this rear seat, so I think that's kind of why they're sitting up high. We don't have heated rear seats, which there's a button right here on the Touring model, but I would be happy, most people would be happy without heated rear seats. But what do you guys think of the new Accord Hybrid? This is the cheapest model, the sport model, and it's going to drive very similarly to all the other more expensive hybrids in the Accord lineup. You get really cool 19-inch wheels. I think on the outside, it looks just as good as the Touring. It doesn't have the glossy bits on it. And in some ways, I think it looks better than the Sport L. So anyways, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you guys for watching. Definitely stay tuned for my driving impressions of the all new 11th generation 2023 Honda Accord.